Greetings, royal family. We're back. So it seems like this season has come to a close. So let's just get right into it. This is Sistas Acceptance. So we open up with Zach and Danni. Ugh. So it's just nasty. You remember he was high, and he was naked in Danny's bed. So he is thinking that he is actually having sex with Danny, when in fact he is humping a pillow. Ugh. Ugh. So that scene was just a little bit too long for me and just weird. You know, Danny, she's cracking up and she is in the bed also. And he's completely naked and he's just saying all types of corny, supposed to be funny, sexual stuff. She's cracking up. Again, he's humping the pillow and he thinks that he's actually having sex with Danny. So that scene was just dumb and gross. So we move on to Andi and Crazy Gary. So Andi is telling Gary that he should go home and make nice with his wife. Yikes. Her thing is, hopefully, if he goes home for about a month and make nice with his wife, hopefully she will drop the divorce and she will no longer be a client of Andi's, and Crazy Gary can come back to Andi after a month, or so she tells him. We don't really know if she wants him to come back because remember, she's smitten with somebody else. So she thinks that, again, this is going to save her job. And Crazy Gary asks a good question. He says, you know, what's going to happen when I come back? And Andi's whole thing is like, look, if she comes back, I'll just tell her that I can't represent her and she'll have to go to another lawyer. So at this point, you know, Crazy Gary is standing in the room with Andi and all he has on is a towel. So his chest muscles start jumping and he feels that Paris is the reason why Andi wants him to leave, because he keeps asking her, is there someone else? So he told her, look, get another job. He had the nerve to tell her to get another job or he will help her financially open up her own private practice. So you could tell Andi's trying to create like a way of escape, okay? Because you have to be strategic with crazy people. So she's thinking that this will work. So we shall see. She doesn't want Gary's help. She told him, you know, he says, well, good, stay home and, you know, we can have a whole bunch of kids. And she lets him know, look, I went to school for years. I am not staying home to raise kids. I don't want you to help me. I worked very hard, you know. So he agrees to leave after them going back and forth, and she convinces him that it's a good idea. He agrees to leave and he asks her to wait for him because, again, remember, Andi is telling him, yeah, go home, make nice, but then when everything is all good, you can come back, which sounds totally ridiculous. But in her mind, she thought it was a good idea. So he makes her promise him that, you know, she won't see anyone else. And she promised him that to his face. She says, you know, she promises, I won't see anyone else. So, girl, I don't know. I totally don't know. But she did tell Karen last week when she went to go check up on Karen at Karen's place that she's just going to tell Gary to leave. Yes, I can understand her wanting to save her job, but I guess she's thinking for the right now and she's not really thinking like what could happen a month later or a couple of weeks later. Anyway, moving on to Sabrina, Karen, and Andi. They're at the gym and Sabrina, as usual, is whining about Calvin and that she thinks that he is on the down low. Here's again with Sabrina, you know, she whines every episode. I just don't get how you can, like, you say you like him, right? You like this guy so much, but you think that he's gay. And you don't like his choices and he wears panties. But you like him. Girl, it's like you asked him already if he was gay. He said no. So why, like, just be a little bit more upfront with him. And he's adamant about this is who I am. So he's not really interested in trying to change to appease Karen. Fine. Girl, is there a shortage like in the town of men where you are? It just seems so desperate. Like her character just oozes desperation. Back to Danni and Zach. So he is out of whatever trance it is that he was in. And Danni is making him believe, this is so cruel. Danni is making him believe that they actually slept together and she taped it. So he's freaking out. She tells him, oh, I think I might be pregnant. So she's having so much fun with this and he is absolutely freaking out. And he did admit that not only was he smoking, he was also drinking and, he apologizes. She's having a grand old time. She's just like, I recorded it and, no one has ever made love to me. So she seems to be having fun. At first, it was just like, okay, I was waiting for her to say, I'm just kidding. But she actually is going along with this. So Danni's a little crazy too. I wonder if her and crazy Danni and crazy Gary. Yeah, that seemed a little bit sick and twisted, especially as the episode progressed. So we're shifting gears back to the gym now. Now Calvin is with Maurice. Maurice is Sabrina's co-worker, her gay male co-worker, Maurice. And Calvin is telling Maurice that he's frustrated with Sabrina. So they're like, working out. And Maurice is trying to give him advice about Sabrina. Now, after a while, they both begin to work out. So I guess it appears that Calvin is trying to train Maurice. So he gets behind Maurice. Calvin gets behind Maurice. He's positioned behind him. And they are doing squats together. And Maurice is being very, suggestive with his body language as they're doing squats. So, of course, the girls, Andi, Karen, and Sabrina, they're leaving a spin class that they were just in the same gym. So they come out and they catch Calvin and Maurice working out. And it's just like, oh my God, this storyline is just getting so annoying. And Calvin and Sabrina, they end up talking. And he tells her that she is either going to accept him or not, so he's getting a little bit rough and tough with her in a sense. And Sabrina is just begging him to come over for dinner. And he's like, no, I'll think about it. So she's begging him and he just walks off. He just tells her he's so frustrated. He doesn't want to change who he is. This is who he is. And she's either going to take it or leave it. So she's like, well, maybe we can come over for dinner and, talk about it. He's not having it. He said, I'll think about it. I'll let you know. So he just leaves her hanging, disses her. And she's just like, again, is there a shortage of men? Why is Sabrina acting like she hit the jackpot with Calvin? And I don't get it. She's forcing herself to like someone and you are not comfortable with the choices that he makes or how he behaves as a man. He's not your type. You say you like a masculine man. So why are you forcing yourself to like this guy? Anyway, so moving along, Crazy Gary, he is moving out, okay? He came back. He's in and out. He came back, get his last bag. So he just wants to know when he'll see Andi. Okay, when will I see you again? When will my heart breathe again? So Andi is not really emotional at this point. She's just keeping her cool. She's just keeping her composure. So Gary asks again, is there someone else? And she just tells him why do you keep asking me that? She tells him that she loves him. And she embraces him, gives him a hug, and she starts to cry as he leaves. So he dramatically walks out the door with his little suitcase and he stares at her dramatically. And then the door shuts and she's like, she starts crying. And we go back to Sabrina at the gym at this point. It's like, Lord, why can't you guys, Tyler, I guess this was a filler episode. They just kept bouncing all over the place. But anyway, so Sabrina is at the gym, okay? Now, the spin class instructor that her and the girls, the class that they were in, the instructor, Calvin, just so happens to know, and he's extremely flamboyant. He's gay. So Karen suggested that she ask the spin class instructor, how does he know Calvin? So she takes Karen's bad advice. So she goes up to the trainer. She asks him, she's just like, oh, how do you know Calvin? And she's like, oh, yeah, that's my homeboy. I know him from the gym or something like that. And he says to her, I would hook you up, but I think he's seeing someone. Mind you, he doesn't know anything about Sabrina and Calvin. She doesn't disclose that. So that's one smart thing she did. He goes on to say that I think that he's seeing someone, some guy who works on houses. So Sabrina says, oh, so he is gay. And the guy is just like, yeah. So the trainer guy then he tries to hook Sabrina up with a straight massage therapist who frequents the gym. So he calls him over and he asks, oh, do you need a massage? And yada yada. They start talking. And he hands Sabrina her card. And she was just, the trainer was just like, see, that easy. Now I thought that was interesting because it's like, see, you could there's other people for you to date. Like, why are you so stuck on Calvin? I don't get it. So she takes his info without hesitation. Okay, so I'll be interested to see how that plays out because then I thought about it later. Is that trainer guy who knows Calvin, does he like Calvin, or he could be the one seeing Calvin, or did Calvin turn him down and he's just being shady? Like, how do we know that we can trust the spin class instructor guy? Anyway, Aaron. We haven't seen Aaron all episode. So Aaron shows up at Andi's office again without an appointment. So Andi's assistant, she comes in and she tells her that the wife client has been calling, and she's been calling several times, and she's wanting to know where Gary will be served. Okay, because remember, she filed for divorce. He has to be served with papers, but she doesn't know where he is staying. So the assistant also tells Andi, hey, I just want to let you know that I admire you. You're the only black female lawyer at the firm, and you're killing it. You're killing it. So this is the second episode where we see someone singing Andi's praises. First, it was Miss Irene, and now it is the clerk or assistant. So Aaron comes in, and he wants to know if his divorce is final. And Andi tells him yes. And he also wants to kind of get through to Karen, but he feels that her words break people down, and he really doesn't like that. So he wants Andi to help him get through to Karen, I guess. Seems like does he like her, or does he feel like he has to save her? I don't know. He may like her. He likes her. But I guess he wants her to kind of clean it up before he can move forward with her, because she may not necessarily be his cup of tea. So Andi agreed to help him out, I guess, so that the two of them can kind of sit down and talk to Karen about her mouth, pretty much, because her mouth is vicious. So Danni and Zach, they're at Danni's place, and Sabrina walks into Danni's apartment. Now, they have the keys to each other's houses, so I guess because they're that close. Now, at this point, Zach is sitting on the kitchen, at the kitchen table on a chair, naked. He wants to know where his underwear, where his clothes are. And Danni's playing these little childish games. She hid his clothes. She hid all of his underwear. So, of course, during this little back and forth, Sabrina walks in and she wants to know what the heck is going on. So Danni tells Sabrina that she slept with Zach and she actually taped it. She asked Sabrina, do you want to see it? Now, remember, this is a lie. She did not sleep with Zach. She did not tape anything because there was nothing to tape. So Sabrina, she gets kind of emotional because remember the last time that they talked, Sabrina was telling Danni when she got home from the club, don't sleep with Zach, because she told Sabrina, he's in my bed naked. She warned her, do not sleep with that boy. That's sad. You have to warn your friends not to sleep with their other friend's ex-man. So again, Sabrina, she's getting emotional and she was just like, this is so wrong. That's wrong. And Danni is like in revenge mode. She doesn't care. She's real cold at this moment. She's not really jovial and fun. She has a mean look on her face. And it's because she's hurt, because she finds out that the girls were talking about her, mocking her, making fun of her behind her back. But man, this, I don't think that this punishment fits the crime, girl. There are other issues going on? What's going on? So as Sabrina walks out the door, Danni mumbles under her breath. She calls her the B word. All right. We move back to Andi's office, okay? Paris is at Andi's office. So the secretary comes in and lets her know there's a Paris here to see you. So she's like, looking in the mirror, making sure she looks nice and poised. So Paris shows up. He shows up to visit Andi. And he brings her cookies that his granny baked, So they're talking. She's being professional, but you can tell that she's like looking at him softly, and he likes her too, but both of them are respecting one another, you know. He does ask her out on a date, and she shoots him down, and she tells him that she's in a relationship. What? But then again, maybe that is the safest thing for you to do at this point, Andi, because, you know, Crazy Gary is probably still keeping an eye on you. For certain, he's keeping an eye on you. Anyway, so Paris ends up leaving. You know, he says that he will be seeing her soon. She asks him again, you know, why is he single? He said at this point, it doesn't matter. He says to her, you know, you don't seem like the type of person that would be interested in a guy like me, you know, working construction. You seem like you would date the owner of the CEO of the company. And she told him, you know, don't sell yourself short. So they're having a little friendly conversation back and forth. So Paris, you know, bids her good day. He says, I'll see you around. And then he leaves. And as Andi is lusting after Miss Irene's grandbaby, in walks the private investigator that Andi wanted to meet with. Remember, she had her phone number. She did tell her secretary to contact the PI, set up a meeting. Now, she thought it was going to be a man. So I don't know if she thought that she was going to use her feminine charm to kind of, you know, see what he knows. And if he knows anything, make it go away. But sister girl walked in. The attitude was all over her face. And her attitude looked even more stank than Karen, right? She looked like she knew something. Because the way she walked in, she wasn't very friendly. And she was just looking at Andi like, home wrecker. So Andi asked her, you know, was she able to find out anything? Then bam, the private investigator pulls out a photo of Andi and Gary in the park together. And she says, yes, we have a lot to talk about. And that's where the episode ends. So this will be interesting to see. This chair is making all types of noises. This will be interesting to see. I knew that this was going to happen. I'm going to tell you that. I saw this coming. I saw the private investigator was going to come and say, hey, look, I know it's you, girl. I know it's you, home wrecker. So, yeah, so Andi is just sitting there like she saw a ghost. And it's kind of like, girl, you kind of figured this. You knew this. You are sleeping with Gary. So you should have expected this. And I'm telling you, I am holding on to my theory that Gary and that wife client are going to work together to take Andi down. I said it. I don't remember which episode it was that I reviewed, but I said it. So that's where the episode ends. Sistas is not going to return until January 8th, so I get a break from being tortured from time to time. I try to make the very best of these reviews. So next year, we are going to be seeing Calvin. He's going to be wearing boxer briefs, right? So it seems like Sabrina is still dealing with Calvin. Now, what I'm interested in knowing is this. You already asked that trainer guy if Calvin was gay, and he said yes. And then you took another guy's number. So how is that going to work out? Like, what if he denies being gay, but the trainer guy says he is? Sabrina, you just keep putting you're just going to be a ball of confusion. So listen, I said that if Calvin wore another pair of panties, I was going to scream. So the previews for, I guess, the next season or the next phase of this season, he actually has on black boxer briefs. So it seems like he is trying to compromise, I guess, or appease to Sabrina, or appease Sabrina. Yeah. Aaron might be a preacher, okay, based on the previews. I think she said, Karen said, what are you, some sort of preacher or something? And he says, yes, but I don't know. They edit these things, so we don't know if Reverend Aaron is actually a preacher. Zach, he wants to talk to Karen, possibly about Danni, because we see Danni on the phone with Sabrina, and she's saying he's going to tell her about us. So this is just going to go all the way left crazy, because Danni is lying. She's doing this for revenge. And as far as Andi is concerned, Andi is busted by the private investigator, and Gary might be the cause of it. Reason being, you see Danni in her, Andi in her house. The girls are gathered around. They're looking at pictures, and she is crying, saying, he played me. So who that he is, we won't find out until after January 8th, after the new year. So Royal Family, this has been real. I am a woman of my word, and I stuck through watching these, 8, 9 episodes of Sistas. And I guess it's too late to turn back now. Let's see what Tyler Perry is going to come with in the second phase of this show, because I want to know what is going to happen with Gary and Andi. That is the plot line that I am the most interested in. And then now, secondly, I'm interested in finding out more about Aaron. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes, I guess, season 1 of Sistas, or phase 1 of season 1. Whatever. We made it. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss. Are you going to be returning after January 8th? I will be, because I made a commitment to review this entire season. At least I get a little bit of a break. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for hanging out with me. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Yeah, get down in the comments, Royal Family. We're going to get a little bit of a break from Sistas. So listen, I'm just patiently waiting for Power to come back, because we need to know who did that to our boy Ghost. So Tyler Perry and Sistas, I will see you after the new year. Royal Family, I love you for watching. And as always, until next time, peace.